Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for taking a 26-minute shower? My partner lost their crap over how long I'd been in the shower. I am a female with longer thick hair, and I was doing what some refer to as a full body shower, washing, conditioning hair, shaving all, washing my body, my face, and then got out. My partner said they were running the sink for as long as I was in the shower and asked if I noticed how much water was wasted then. I asked how I'd be able to hear that run while I was in the shower. Exactly. Followed by other things. I added the songs I listened to while in the shower to their own playlist, totaled 26 minutes. Am I the a-hole for taking 26 minutes to full-body shower? ETA, two of us in home, we have 2 full bathrooms, he showered last night, I showered this morning, and we had no plans for the day. I take this length shower once every 3 to 4 days. I don't shower every day, because I work from home, but if I do, I'm under 10 minutes with body washed and hair shampooed for a regular wash. Top comments. Not the a-hole. He thinks you're the a-hole for wasting water, but he kept the water running for the entire time. Worst water policing ever. OP replies. I'm still confused as to how he thought that proved his point. Not the a-hole. My friend was complaining his girlfriend taking 2 long showers, 5 minutes should be enough. I asked my other friends, who is bald, hairy guy with kinda bad skin and sometimes smelly, how long you shower? 5 minutes, he replied. Turned to my complaining friend, so you want your girl looking like him? No more complaining. No, he is. I too have long thick hair. A full body shower is 30 minutes. Minimum. His logic makes no sense. I'm going to run the faucet while she's in the shower to show her how much water she's wasting. He sounds like the type that would turn off the water when he felt like you were taking too long. Does he count the amount of toilet paper squares you used to? Not the a-hole. Your partner intentionally wasted water to teach you a lesson. This is 1, scary logic, and 2, if you don't pay the water bill, really dumb. If you do pay the water bill, I'd ask them to compensate you for wasting water. OP replies. I do pay the water bills. I was trying to see another point he could have been making, but I'm coming to this too. If it was an everyday thing, maybe. But the full body scrub down and shaving etc. takes some time. 26 is a long one, but not in the realm of a hollery. ETA, and kind of important for context. Were you late for something, or was he waiting for you to get out of the shower, like one bathroom, door locked? OP replies. Once every 3 to 4 days, I do a full body shower, otherwise 10 minutes or so just to wash my body and shampoo hair. No plans today, and we have another full bathroom, with just the 2 of us in home. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister's boyfriend out of my vacation home? My husband, Kai, and I own a vacation home on Lake Michigan. We both own it technically, but it was his before we got married. This becomes relevant later. My sister, Leah, has been using our vacation home since Kai and I started dating. We don't mind, she is always clean and courteous, and leaves it better than she found it. However, she started dating her boyfriend, Al, about a year ago, and I can't say the same for him. Al is a total slob. He leaves dirty dishes, empty bottles, etc. everywhere and expects Leah to clean up. He has split custody of 2 young kids from his ex, who he just lets run free, expecting Leah to do the work even though they're his kids. On top of that, he's told Leah to get him a beer while she's busy, and he's watching TV a few times in front of Kai and me, so I can't imagine how he treats her when we're not around. Their house is always a mess because Leah works 60 hours a week and doesn't have the time to take care of 2 small kids and Al, clean, and work long hours. Yet somehow, I think Leah really loves Al. She looks at him like he is the only man in the world. When she talks about him, her eyes light up and her voice is sweet and melodic. That's why when Leah asked if she and Al could use the vacation home this week, I said yes. I figured, what's the worst that could happen? Plus, Kai and I already planned on going 3 days after them, so we'd overlap. When Kai and I got there, the vacation house was a pigsty. It smelled like rotting food. There was a mountain of dirty dishes in the sink, the floor was sticky, and there were drawings on the walls with crayons. We got to the living room, where lo and behold Leah was scrambling to pick up toys and Al was drinking a beer in a rocking chair. I immediately snatched the beer from his hand and asked him why he wasn't cleaning the mess he made. He asked why I assumed it was him and not Leah. I said it's because I'm not an idiot. He just chuckled and said Leah was doing the cleaning and there didn't need to be two people cleaning. His nonchalance really ticked me off, so I told him he and his sticky kids had an hour to pack up their things and leave before I called the cops. Al looked at Kai and Kai was like, "What are you looking at me for? Go pack." At this point, Leah was really upset with me. She said they were looking forward to unwinding and I walked in and ruined it in 5 minutes, not even considering other resolutions to conflict. Plus I had no claim to the house since I didn't buy it myself. I told her there is no conflict, Al is deadweight and that's that. And as for the house, Kai owns it and he was with me. She said if Al was leaving, she was leaving too. That night, I got a call from my mom asking why I kicked Leah out. I told her I kicked Al out and Leah followed. My mom told me I need to be more accepting of new members of the family and that not everyone has the same living style as me. Now she's mad, and Leah won't talk to me. Was I the a-hole in this situation? Top comments. Feels like your mom doesn't have the full picture of Al that you do. Obviously Al is an a-hole. You aren't. Not the a-hole. My unsolicited advice is future interactions continue to call out Al's behavior as unacceptable. Only act through defense of your sister. Don't call out her bad choice of Al at all, don't do a "why are you doing X for him?" Just call out Al's laziness. Get me a beer, garners a "what are your legs and arms broken? Not cleaning? Pick up after your kids. Wash your dirty dishes, jerk." Just continue to point out that Al is a lazy a-hole that thinks he needs to be treated like he's the master of the house. Send mom photos of what they did to the house and tell her if she wants to be accepting of Al's behavior and how he treats your property, then she can jolly well come clean up after him and put your house to rights. Very mature to go crying to mommy about it and make it a family affair. Different living style and letting your kids draw paintings on somebody else's walls is not the same. Yes, threatening to call the cops was a little OTT, if you ask me. Other than that, I would have done the same. If he can't behave and control his kids in your home, original owner or not, permanent residence or vacation home, he can't visit. What your sister tolerates in her home is her decision, your home, your decision. Now I'm at the end of my post and your mom still ticks me off. I would never watch my daughter be treated like a maid and her love being taken advantage of like this and shush others who speak up. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my coworker that I didn't enjoy my pregnancy? A new coworker started 3 months ago. Let's call her Linda. She seems pretty nice, which is why I'm really not sure about all this. At my work, we have a tradition where once a new employee successfully completes their probation, we go out for a team lunch. Nothing fancy, but something nice to celebrate. Linda passed her probation, so we went out for lunch. As we're eating, we all get to talking, and the topic of the magic of pregnancy/childbirth comes up. Everyone was sharing sweet moments from their pregnancy. I enthusiastically joined in but didn't share any of my own. I think Linda noticed because she specifically turned to me and said, "Linda, you had twins, didn't you? That must have been a wonderful experience." I smiled and said something along the lines of how I wished my pregnancy and birth had been as positive an experience as theirs had been. To be clear, it was not said sarcastically at all. The truth is I hated every moment of being pregnant. I could write a long list of all the magical symptoms I had, but I'll just give you the highlights. Horrific vivid nightmares. Hyperemesis gravidarum, severe morning sickness. Debilitating migraines. A metallic taste in my mouth. And then the birth. Honestly, I feel like anything that could go wrong, but not be life-threatening, did go wrong. Worst of all, due to some of the complications I ended up being kept in hospital for a while, so I missed the first few days with my girls. It's safe to say I hated every moment of being pregnant, and every moment of labor. It was not a magical experience by any stretch of the imagination. I didn't say any of this to Linda, I just responded as I mentioned. After my reply, Linda started getting short with me. Later, I asked her privately what was going on. She snapped and told me what I said was insensitive and undermined their experiences and told me I was an a-hole for it. Since then, she's sort of cooled off, and is less hostile, or at least less openly hostile, but last week she invited all the girls in the team to a ladies' night. Everyone but me. Now, I don't mind so much, since ladies' nights are not really my thing, but the fact that she pointedly excluded me has made things awkward. I feel like I need to do something. I'm not really in the mood for drama. I have enough of that in my life right now. I don't need more, so I haven't confronted her about it yet. And as I said, she is otherwise a really nice person, normally pretty friendly and easygoing. So I'm left wondering if I really was an a-hole. Was what I said insensitive? Did it undermine their experience? Before I ask her about it, I could use some perspective because I honestly just don't know. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Good lord, so not the a-hole. I would have wondered if she was pregnant with the way she responded. I also had a very miserable pregnancy and a serious life-threatening event, heart failure, so I can't relate to these stories. You weren't being sarcastic, you weren't telling these women that they sucked for having positive experiences, you didn't call them liars. You just shared your experience. She has shown that she's very petty by excluding you from a ladies' night event. All of this would make me very cautious of working on any projects with her. Good luck. Opie replies. It might be. The conversation came about because she was talking about how much she wished she was pregnant again. She has a 2-year-old and how she misses being pregnant. Could be she is in fact pregnant. But if she is, she clearly doesn't know it. Not the a-hole. Linda is playing mean girl, and you are her first target. Opie replies. Until now she has always seemed so nice. We've always had a laugh and nice chats and otherwise gotten along. I really hope this is not the case. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom to shut up and accept that my wife and I aren't naming our kids the way she and dad named me and my siblings? My wife and I, both late 20s, had our first child together in June. Before he was born there was a lot of talk about names from different family members on both sides, but the pressure to tell was on my side specifically. We didn't tell a soul what the name would be until our son was born and we had left the hospital. My parents were disappointed when we announced our son's name. My family are very traditional in how they named us. We were each named after grandparents and that's how they feel everyone should name their kids. My wife's family don't have a tradition when it comes to naming babies. They just name them and go. No fuss or insisting on certain names. But my wife's side tends to favor more uncommon and unusual names. My wife's and my taste tends to lean a lot more to her side than to mine. Which is how we ended up choosing the name Hollis for our son. This was not something my parents liked because they expected our son to be either Jack, my dad, or Parker, my father-in-law. But I know they were expecting a little Jack to be born. So that added to their reaction. But they quizzed us on our choice to break tradition, and I told them it wasn't a tradition my wife's family used and we decided we weren't going to have one either. Over the last couple of months both parents have questioned why, have wanted to discuss other names for future babies. My mom has been the worst by far. She asked why we went with something so unlike the names we have in our family. I told her our family wasn't the only family involved, but that we also didn't take the family tastes into account. We went with what we liked. She pointed out our tastes were a lot like my in-laws and I said yes, but that it wasn't about my in-laws and their taste, it was about my wife's and my taste. I told her I was done discussing it and since that point I now change the topic or end the conversation when she brings it up or refuses to let it go. We had a little naming ceremony on Saturday and my mom decided she was going to dig in her heels about the name and she told me we'd picked a stupid name and she hated it. She wanted us to change it and name him Jack or Parker. She told me we had no business breaking a long-held tradition in our family and there's a reason those traditions are there so foolish people can't name their babies the worst names imaginable. She also said my in-laws must be so smug thinking they'll have at least 2 stupidly named grandkids like they had all stupidly named kids. I lost my temper. I told her to shut up and accept that we're not naming our kids like she and dad named me and my siblings and I told her she would need to leave and learn to be more respectful because I would not take those insults against my wife or her family lying down. My mom hated being told to shut up and she said I had no excuse for rudeness to her face. I thought she was crazy when she was rude. Am I the a-hole though? Top comments. Not the a-hole. If your mother wants to have a say in naming a baby, then she should have another baby. She was unnecessarily rude and disrespectful to you, your wife, your ILs and your child. I'd seriously consider going no contact with her if she doesn't change her behavior, as your son will pick up on it as he grows up and it is not acceptable to expose your family to her. OP replies. At the very least, very low contact is being considered if she and my dad cannot let this go. I do not want them insulting my kids' names to their faces in the future. NTA. Tradition or not, this is your child. And any future children. No one gets to tell you what you should name your child. You could say, well parents, that was your tradition. We decided to start our own tradition as a family. Personally, I love the name Hollis. As for mom, unfortunately, this might be a deal breaker in going limited contact or no contact. You will have to set the example. Let parents know right off the bat that calling your child anything else than his name will not be tolerated. If they are at your place, you get up and show them the door. If you are at theirs, you get up and leave. Same with any outside venue or relative's home. If you are at relatives' home who are on mom and dad's side, you can let them know your boundaries as well. Curious, what was the middle name? Because I actually like either father's name as a middle name. OP replies. Very low contact is being considered over this. It will depend on what the reaction after this is like and whether they stop or continue insulting our son's name and my in-laws and my wife and myself. We didn't use either father's name. We considered a few but went with Cameron in the middle ultimately. Next story. Am I the a-hole? My boyfriend didn't see me. Yesterday we went to go see a movie. I had forgotten my phone and communicated that to my boyfriend on the drive there. He asked me if I would be okay without it, and I said yes. After the movie I told him I had to use the restroom. When I got out, I walked outside. He usually waits out by the entrance. But he wasn't there. I waited a few minutes, but I couldn't call him, and he had the car key. I tried walking to the car, but he wasn't there. I went back in and checked near the men's restroom, but nothing. After about 10 minutes I got pretty upset. I tried to keep myself in view of the theater while I walked around it, but he wasn't anywhere. Some strangers even offered to get me an Uber. Finally I went in and checked one more time, and he was sitting on a couch looking at his phone. I told him I'd been looking for him, but I wasn't blaming about it, but he got super defensive and told me it was my fault for not seeing him and I had no reason to be upset. He kept saying, I don't understand why you're so upset, on the car ride back. When I tried to tell him that I wanted us to be more in sync with each other, especially since we're going on a trip out of the country soon, he scoffed and said, do I need to tell you where I'm going to be whenever we are separate? Which felt unfair. I didn't have my phone. Plus, what if something happens to me? How long would it take him to notice? Am I overreacting? I feel kind of angry now and still hurt. Top comments. Sorry, but kinda you are the a-hole. All you had to do was make a plan on where to meet each other. Being upset/frustrated with your boyfriend isn't really fair in this case, and the whole need to be in sync with each other thing is just vague and meaningless. Like, is he supposed to read your mind to guess where you will look for him? Just tell him. If you're going to split up, just say, let's meet back here at X time. If you're going somewhere busy where you might get separated, then you say, if we get separated then just meet over by that tree, etc. Plan ahead and communicate, don't depend on being in sync. You are the a-hole. Simple solution, hey, wait for me by the front door while I use the bathroom. You are in a movie theater, not a war-torn, third world country, where you didn't speak the language. Rein in the dramatics. You are the a-hole and a bit of a drama queen. Welcome to the world of pre-2000 where noon had cell phones and you made a plan to meet if something happened. Yes, you are overreacting. I don't think you are the a-hole, just nervous and scared. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.